Yo, what up, guys? It's Mondo here with Miss Shay Sparks. Say hi.
Hello, hello, hello.
Howdy, howdy. So, this is the TV show companion broadcast on my YouTube channel, Get Mad at It TV, and Facebook group, Creative, Full Thing Creative Facebook group. And I had posted on the Pod Houston or Pod YouTube Facebook page on some shows that I like watching on Netflix or Bravo that kind of like uh, keep the time going, and we're kind of all stuck at home or not working as much, so we've got these cool shows that are very intriguing, and one of which is called Love is Blind. And I had posted something about a month or a half ago, 2 months, about if anyone likes that show, and or the other one, which is it's the yacht club one. I forget what it's called, and then the $1 million listing. But I like this show, and Miss Shay responded to the Love is Blind show, and so I thought that was kind of cool too. So the concept of Love is Blind is pretty interesting. And when I first turned it on, I thought it was like really cool how the producers, whoever created the show, pretty much, you don't get to meet these people in person, face to face. They don't get to see you, your appearance, and these are men and women. And so I thought it was super interesting because I know these days, you walk by people, and I feel that people are attracted, of course, to physical appearance and height and body composition, things of that nature. And so I thought it was pretty interesting concept on these people. They get to know each other first on a kind of like personality level,
Mhm.
and it really helps them connect emotionally, spiritually, everything except looking at them, and they get to hear their voice. So I thought it was kind of cool. What about you? What do you think about it when you first saw it?
Well, I like the concept, but I don't know about you. Have you ever been online dating before?
Yeah, I've been online dating. I've been through the Bumbles and the Tinders and the Hinge, and uh, it's kind of with those apps. I feel it's more superficial, and it's a lot of 2 second thought of what the person looks like first.
Yeah,
And it's those apps are designed to you spend not even a full second or two on their profile. I mean, not even on their profile, on their picture. And
yeah,
so when you go into the actual bio and the profile, they kind of have a little snippet of their life and what they're into, their lifestyles, and all that. And the pictures kind of do a justice on, like, if they're hiking, biking. I usually don't respond if I see a girl chugging a beer or something, or I don't know, but yeah, I've been on those, and it's different, I think.
well, it is. But I was gonna say I was on eHarmony many years ago, and there was a point where you could be on it and see and communicate and see people's profile, but you couldn't see their picture. So they kind of set it up that way. You're right. So you could kind of get a gist of who they were. But the show, Love is Blind, I don't think they even did that. I think they just took, I don't even know how many people there was, but they're all beautiful. So you wouldn't have
Yeah,
gotten a bad person, right? Of course, it's
yeah,
reality TV, so they all look good. But I thought it was really interesting on how people were really like, some people were superficial in their conversations and just kind of laughing and joking around, and then some people like deep dived and really like got deep and what is it that you really want, where your goals are. So I really
right,
liked how depending on the dynamic of the relationship, they really got personal, which sometimes you don't do if you're on a dating app, right? So
right,
I
right.
just think it was really really interesting. And then yeah, 5 days later.
Yeah. Yeah, it was 5 days. So it's a really cool concept. So in the beginning of the show, they pretty much throw all these cool people at you in the beginning, and we both took notes and the names and the ages and what they do. And so I'm just going to list the people out. So I have Matt, 28. He's a charity director. I have Ebony. She's 30. She's a journalist. Brianna. I don't have anything on her yet. I just said Brianna. And then Barnett is 27. He's kind of the main character of the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As you get through the first episode, Lauren, she is 32, content creator. Jessica, 34. She's some kind of manager. And she also becomes one of the main characters.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Wesley, 27, short sales manager. And I kind of connected with Wesley a little bit because I am on the shorter side of the height, and he said something to me that kind of like resonated. And he said like, yeah, it sucks, like most women kind of pick taller dudes. And that's been kind of like not a setback for me, but like, it's crazy how, women just automatically go for the height factor. And then it's almost like, okay, this has been my experience. It's like, well, it's who cares how they act or who cares how their behavior is. Just as long as they're tall, dark, and handsome, I guess that's like the norm,
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's really
stupid Disney. They ruined it for everybody, right?
Yeah. And it's like, and it's really upsetting like that happens. And when he said that, I fell for him just because I kind of like fall in that category as well, but I don't really harp on it as much. I just kind of move it along and do that. So, and then we also have here we go. Carlton. He's 34. He's tall. He's got a nice beard. He's into social media. And he said he's ready to find a wife.
Yeah.
And some of these people are like mixed races, white, Hispanic, black, and all types. So I think that's pretty cool. And the hosts are Vanessa and Nick Lachey. And Nick Lachey was Backstreet Boys or 98 Degrees or something to that effect.
I think 98 Degrees. Yeah, I think it was 98.
Okay.
I think, yeah. Again, beautiful people, right?
They're
not bad to look at either during all of this. So
they're all like good looking, fit.
Yes.
Like
they're always working out or doing yoga and drinking lots of drinking.
Yeah. Well, I don't even think like all of them are mainly under 30, so they can get away with it.
Yeah, exactly.
They can drink and not like gain an ounce of any pounds, right, which sucks. Right. But yeah, so like they presented the show, and I'm just kind of reading off my notes here. And so their kind of goal is, from what Nick and Vanessa was talking about, is to leave as an engaged couple, which means that like one of them will propose to the other, and then they'll live together after that happens, and then they'll meet the parents, kind of see what that dynamic parent fiance dynamic looks like, and then at the end have the wedding day.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty intense. And so this is not like your traditional like relationship. Most dudes and girls, women spend months, maybe even, definitely years, definitely months. And also some women that have been together with somebody for at least 5 years and they're still not wifed up,
right?
Which is kind of weird. So, but different strokes for different folks, I guess.
Well, and I think it was the time limit was 36 days, like from the day they met to the time of the wedding. Like it was not very long for everyone. So if you waited too long, or not too long, but if you waited longer, then it was almost like you had pressure to hurry up and make your mind up.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Which is really an interesting dynamic if you think about it. You have, it makes me wonder, like, what time did they start in the day, in the beginning of the day? Because I heard some of them say, "I'm so glad you were my last person today." I'm like, so what time do you talk to? Do you have a curfew? Do the cameras turn off at like midnight, or do they literally keep filming till, who knows?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for the viewers kind of watching us here, if you haven't already, I put the link on to Grant's Facebook access, which says let StreamYard see your Facebook live comments. And there's a blue rectangular box. And I posted a link on my group, and you push that link, and then all you got to do is click let StreamYard see your Facebook live comments. And if you want to comment on any of the stuff that we're talking about, if you have any questions, concerns, or you just want to talk about the show, that'd be great, and what you took away from it. So go ahead and do that. I know we have a couple people already watching, and so, but yeah, like what you're saying was like they have a limited time.
Right.
You gotta get the girl or you gotta get the guy interested like quick.
Like
it's
now.
like speed dating on steroids.
Right.
But then yeah, and then like your arms and legs are tied, and you can't really see the person. So you really got to rely on your personality and all that. So, that's what I wrote down. Rely on your personality. Oh, that's crazy. Seriously, I was like writing notes of what like I thought. I was like, the next line was rely on your personality. So, yeah, I mean, it's, so what they also said is, they want to form intimate bonds. No looks are involved. They're in a private pod. So the setting is like some super plush, comfy couch. They have like alcohol on the side if they want to drink. Yeah.
Alcohol and candy and yeah.
Candy. She was like, "Yeah, I'm going to grab some candy while I talk to you." And so in the next one, they asked, will physical reality sabotage their relationship after they get to see each other, throughout the episodes going on and go forth. So, and I love this experiment. It's a pretty neat social, I don't want to call it social, but like relationship experiment, on how people, I guess, get along and get attracted in the kind of personality, emotional, and spiritual, whatever aspect on it. So what about you? What do you think about it?
Oh, I love it too. And the reason I love it again is because you can kind of see where, like, the first couple, by the end of the first episode, right? The first couple, the guys proposed, but within, I think it was the first date, quote unquote, they were such a deep dive conversation. He was tearing up. She was tearing up. And it's like, wow, I wonder if that, remember? And so I'm wondering if like that's the key, is to like really dive into like what it is your goals are, what it is you want. Because I think they both talked about, it was either kids or no, it was their families, how much their families meant to them. And he had talked about how his mom had cancer. And it was like, wow, that is so beautiful to really be bonded over that. And literally in 5 days.
Yeah,
she's like, I love you. And he's like, I love you too. And then boom, they're engaged.
that was Lauren and Cameron.
Yeah.
So Lauren is the one I talked about. She, she is the content creator. She's 32. She's African American, and Cameron is from Maine. He's into artificial intelligence career. He's a scientist.
Yeah.
He's 28. So there's a little bit of age gap. And he's Caucasian, and he commented removing physical appearance naturally. He's naturally introverted. And then, so they talked about a lot about their personal life with what's going on. And I know you had said something about his mother had cancer or something like that.
Yeah.
I think she had, she got diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
Parkinson's, that's what it was.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Parkinson's. So I actually had their
Wow,
second
you have
date.
lots of notes.
Yeah. So the first date, so I was trying to keep it on point here. So the first date, I asterisk, like they had a real connection.
Yeah.
You know, so I remember she asked, or he asked her, hey, well, she asked him, hey, do you like to cook? Yeah, I like to cook. What about you? And she said, yeah, I like to cook. It's like salmon, curry chicken. She likes to be supportive and loved, and has like little surprises, like her man like coming up from behind her and hugging her for no reason, just doing it, you know. So I think that's cool. Like those two had like a super real cool connection that like I think anyone would appreciate.
Absolutely.
And so like at that point I was like, damn, there that's it. Like there's no more second or third dates with any other girls. Like I think that nail was in that coffin, in that marriage coffin. And so then I guess the second date was when they had a stronger connection. I put stronger connection, and he said his mother had, Parkinson's disease, which is not a good one. And so, and then they had, I really felt that they had a good vibe and good chemistry. And then not afraid to do things that are difficult. I think that's what Lauren said. So what else did you get from that?
Well, I got that they were just willing to be more vulnerable than some of the other couples.
Yeah.
From a coach perspective, I'm literally looking at their personalities going, okay, so they were just really willing to put it all out there to each other. And I felt like they were able to communicate it in a way that was like, why not lay it all on the line?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I'm only here once, where this is like a social experiment, which is, I think, what they called it in the beginning, just to see what happens. And I feel like they, more than the other couples, just literally did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it was fascinating.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, one of the things that I love that, when they interview them separately, I love how Lauren was just literally so transparent and vulnerable in everything that she said about herself and what she's looking for. And I think that just comes across probably in her conversation with Cameron. It was just a easy flow, things like that. And I feel like Cameron kind of did the same, where some of the other people, and we can kind of talk about that if you want, but some of the other people were like, I don't, I'm just here for an experiment. And it was like, they were like, do, whatever. And so I feel like these two were just super driven and motivated and knew that they were walking away with a spouse, which is so crazy to think about, right? That they were going to walk away with a spouse. Yeah.
No, I definitely agree. I mean, they really cut to the chase. They were like, to me, like you brought up a really good point. They were just like, vulnerable, cut to the chase.
Yeah.
And wanting that connection. Because to me, if I was in their shoes, I'd be like, okay, I spent all this time, all this money, all this everything to get here to this point, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure there was some like a bunch of audition tapes. There's like, okay, I'm in. I ain't wasting no time. Lauren's already 32.
Right.
I'm sure she wants kids. So she's like, all right,
let's get
clock is ticking.
Yeah.
I like you. You're cool. You have a nice, vibe, connection, family. And when they threw that in, I was like, oh my God. I was kind of like, I was kind of hiccuping, crying a little bit, And I was like, oh, like once he's talked, because I work healthcare. So like, and I've worked with patients with Parkinson's disease.
Sure.
It's such I've got one right now. It's really, it's progressing. And so I really feel bad for the spouse of him, but yeah, it's a bad thing, but like, they really connected like on an emotional level. And so I think they went on, that was the second date when they were talking. And then
I was even tearing up when they were talking about it. You just felt it, it wasn't forced. Right. It was just real.
Yeah, and then the last one, I think the third or fourth date, uh, he finally kneeled down, proposed to her, and she said
Yes.
yes. Yeah.
But I will say she's the one who said, I love you first.
Yes.
She
I
did
think
say that.
okay. I
And,
I
you
don't
know,
remember the order, but yeah, okay.
well,
Yeah.
I noticed the order because that is super scary for probably 98% of the population to say, I love you first when you have no idea where it's going. So kudos to her for having the courage to literally just step out there and be like, yep, I've got nothing to lose. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huge.
And I think he was blown away by that. Like he was like, wow. Like I saw the expression in his face. It's like, dang,
Yeah.
this girl's real. This is really gonna happen. You know.
Yeah.
But I mean, to me, sometimes you don't want to get it confused with something that's not real. Because I feel like sometimes there's like, things that start and everything is in that honeymoon stage, right? Everything's kind of in like everything sounds gravy, and he or she's saying the right things, and how do we like filter out that BS? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's the obvious red flags that we'll probably get into, but then there's no red flags. There's got to be something wrong, but we don't see anything wrong. And I've been guilty of it too. It's like I kind of push the red flags away, and I just look at the awesome things, and
Right.
then finally I gotta like be honest, like, okay, I can't do this anymore. Like this can't continue. So what do you think about that? Like,
Well, it's funny because I was thinking that, like, so this cuts out the dynamic of one action speak louder than words, right? So there is no action because they're not together. So there's no actions that they can show will speak louder than words to prove themselves, right?
right.
And there's also not the chemistry of infatuation.
That's true.
So you don't have that like instant chemistry and the kissing and the hugging and the all of that going on. That's taken away. So it's really a different dynamic that you don't, well, one, we don't see in the real world, but it's just interesting to see how they did it. So again, I'm just wondering, like, how deep was the conversations that we didn't get to see that were cut, edited out, right?
Right.
And some of the other ones I think were like uncomfortable. You could just kind of see them being uncomfortable in the conversations, and they were just keeping it light and not really deep diving. They weren't really sharing, being vulnerable or being transparent. It was more like, oh, let's just make each other laugh and flirt, and a couple of those too. So
yeah, no, I really kind of thought more about that, how the emotional settings of the guests, like you said, like Lauren and Cameron were like brass tacks. We're like, all right, let's get this done. And all the other people were like kind of guarded, and they had that wall up, which happens to everybody,
Right.
And but the thing is, like, you're there for one main reason, is to connect and lay down the wall or your guard, and to be vulnerable. And I think that's probably the biggest thing they all had to like step over,
Right.
So the first date was with Jessica and Mark. That was the very first date. So Mark is Mexican American. He's 24, Chicago. He's from Chicago. He says that he's a mama's boy.
Mm-hmm.
And Jessica is 34.
Mm-hmm.
And she's the manager or something. She's blonde, blue eyes, like probably a woman I would go after. I'm partial to blondes. Seriously, I would hit on her. I would approach her. Not gonna lie. And so, and I kind of connected with Mark a little bit, not like his age thing, but like I connected with him just because he was like super excited, know. But in the beginning, they were kind of like walking around each other, and finally when they first connected, like, oh, I'm from Chicago. Oh, me too, blah, blah, blah. And it just like exploded. And so I think that was a pseudo connection for me. It wasn't a real connection. I think it was a pseudo connect, just because if you're from the same area, And I think if I was from the same era, I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. I wouldn't be that excited because it's like, okay, well, if you're from Houston, I haven't met you yet. I'm here to meet people outside, you know,
Right.
like I'm here to meet people outside of Houston, like, and you know, not necessarily I would, not want to hang out or not be interested, but I'm here to meet people with different backgrounds. I guess I don't,
Mhm.
different locations or whatever. So I So, but they had like this huge spark of the connection. And so they asked each other, uh, ready to start a family. And of course, the age thing came up because she's 34. It's a 10-year age gap.
Right. Right.
10-year
Which
age gap.
Which at that age, well, first of all, let me back up. First of all, you would not see that just if you were on that show, you would not know that Jessica had blonde hair. So you couldn't like go after her technically, right?
True. Yeah.
True. Okay.
So I wouldn't. Yeah.
Second of all, she's my least favorite character on I mean, like I was like, what are you doing? Every single episode.
But
and again,
initially though.
No, literally. Initially, from the very beginning,
Wow.
when I started watching it, I think I watched it back in, I don't know, March or April or something during the shutdown.
What made you not like her in that very first date?
I believe it's because she was to me, and I could be totally wrong, but it seemed like she was really disingenuous with who she was because she was constantly drinking.
True.
So I feel like she was probably really scared and thinking the drinking would help. And then there were, again, this is for later episodes. She went overboard, and I was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. But I will say I loved that Mark was just literally like full in, like he jumped in and was like, let's go, let's do this, let's jump aboard. And I think she was love struck in the beginning, but totally caught up on the fact of what everyone else would think.
Yeah.
And that's where I went, oh, so is this about you or is this about everybody else? And then the fact that they were both from Chicago, I actually thought was really cool. I love that you didn't. I thought it was cool from the simple fact of sometimes that's what has to break down a barrier. And clearly that's what happened. That's what broke down the barrier.
Yeah.
Got them talking. However, that's also almost like shared trauma, even though it's a good thing, right? It can be like two people have they both are alcoholics or, and they're recovered, or they both have parents that have died, that type of thing. So it's a shared, familiar something.
That's true. Yeah.
But I will say I really liked, I liked her better with Mark than with Barnett, because she was going back and forth like, I don't know. And I'm like, you don't talk about anything with Barnett. You just laugh. Like, that's all you do.
We'll get to that in a minute. We'll get to Barnett. We'll get to him. But
but yeah, I liked him with Mark. I liked her with Mark better than anybody else. But go ahead.
So that was the first date. Like, it was like a rocket launch for their, and like you said, Mark was all in the beginning, like the first 15 minutes, which I think that was his downfall. I didn't really agree with him to like be so over heels or whatever with Jessica, or that's her name. And so what can I find? So like the second date. Okay, so
which while you're looking, let me input this. So there were several people on there that you never saw again. Like there was a guy who was a virgin. There was a guy who was like, oh, I bet I can say what your race is. Right? Mm-hmm. There was another woman, LC. She was on there for a while, but it's like, okay, I wonder what happened to them so quickly that they left. Like, were they like, that's it, I'm done, there's nobody here? Or did they give it a really like a real try?
Yeah, I did some guy commented on Lauren, who or it's the Lauren and Cameron show now, but the guy commented on her race because of her voice.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like really like not cool. I don't know what to call it. Just that's just rude. Like that's a faux pas. That's just super rude to like, oh well, you sound black, or you sound Hispanic or Indian or Asian. It's like, I don't know. It just doesn't vibe well with me. And so she made a point. Well, I could be white, and the look on his face was like, no, you're probably black. Like it was so weird. That was an awkward thing.
Well, then when then he asked, "Are you white?" And she's like, "Yes." And he goes, "Oh," so it was almost like he was fishing for that physical confirmation for him, when that kind of went against the rules of what the show dynamic is. And so I think hopefully he was kicked off. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, we didn't see him anymore because he would totally piss off the women, and we don't want that.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. Like Elsie, I think that was her name.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah. So Elsie and Barnett had a date.
Yeah.
So we could jump. Do you want to finish off Mark and Jessica or go to Barnett?
I have nothing else to say about Mark and Jessica. I thought they were, you like you said, there was definitely something there. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was something.
Right. So then the Mark and Jessica on the second date, I wrote Mark was more. Here we go. The third date. I think I wrote it was a fake connection. I feel like Jessica wanted more validation, like self-validation. So I was thinking that she was leading him on because he's young. He doesn't know much. He's kind of thinking with the wrong part. But like, where's it at? And then she was worried too much about age in front of her family, friends, peers. And Mark was too tense. He was just like nervous. You could just probably feel through the TV like how nervous he was speaking to an older woman. It's like, I understand he's super young, not even 25, speaking to a 30-plus-year-old woman, but I think he could have been less tense and less anxious. And I'm sure the show had a lot to do with it, and he was trying to not think about the millions of people who was going to watch this. And so I felt that, but
I was going to say his personality is intense.
Yeah.
He's just an intense kind of guy. And she is not, I just felt like she needed validation and security and for herself. Like she has a lot of stuff going on that she was kind of showing through. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I thought Mark was way too analytical about everything because he was doing like mental gymnastics about her, and he was kind of like his self-esteem wasn't good but wasn't bad, and he was just tossing around all these things to while he was being interviewed. So, but that's that. So we're done with Jessica and Mark. We're kind of on the, what would you call it with Jessica and Mark? Well, with Jessica, we know where we're at. I think she was fake, like you said, to begin with.
Yeah.
And so Mark, he's young. He doesn't know what he wants yet. He just, connected with someone in his hometown. So then we have Barnett. Barnett is 27. Let's see here. Oh, he's an engineer. He says he goes for pretty girls, wants kids. And from the women's perspective, he's witty and perverted, but they said they like the perverted comments, but he like ties it into like some kind of a romantic way to make it not feel creepy, I guess.
Yeah. So I don't necessarily know if I don't know. I felt like Barnett was almost late 20s, kind of feeling the pressure of I need to get married from his family. And that's I kind of took his personality. but yet he's like a player, that's
Yeah.
really what it seemed like he's just going to get out there and date all these women, which he probably has done in real life. And his families are like, when are you going to settle down? What is happening? You're almost 30 or how, yeah, he's probably late 20s. Yeah. So yeah, it was just an interesting, he just brought interesting dynamic to it, I would say.
He reminds me of one of my fraternity brothers.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Or a little bit of myself when I was in the fraternity.
Yeah.
So I guess Amber is 26. She's from Georgia. She's a former Army tank mechanic. She's pretty cute. She's like brunette, super fit. And so Amber and Barnett go on a date together. And that's when, he was like, hey, I usually go for the pretty girls. And, he told her I want kids, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, I thought they had a decent connection. What do you think?
I think they did too. I think she's kind of like Kanye. Nobody loves Amber as much as Amber loves Amber.
Yeah.
So she has to get over it. I felt like she needed to get over that for a little bit and get real of what she wanted. Again, being vulnerable and transparent. And there wasn't that in this particular, if I remember correctly, there really wasn't that with her in this episode. I think there is further down, but this one, it just felt like she's just selling herself. But yeah. But don't get me wrong, she's adorable. But I mean, again, every single person on there was absolutely gorgeous. So of course, in real life, there'll be some sort of connection. However, I just think I think she's an interesting character. I love that she was kind of a tomboy, and I love the confidence. However, I think there was just she was unwilling to be real and soft and feminine and really dive in. So yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, they I don't know. He was pretty witty. I agree with Amber. The way he talked to her was kind of player-like, but like confident and funny.
Yeah.
And I guess girls like that. And so
yes, they do like confidence, that's for sure.
But yeah.
I will say he was confident to her, but watching from our perspective, I'm like, dude, you like all the women you've dated, every single one. And he even said, this girl was the best. And then the next one is, this girl was the best. And then the next date, this girl was the best. And it's like, okay, you can't figure it out. I think he was having a hard time too.
Yeah. So then that spark happened. They got along really well. And I was like, okay, they're going to be, they're going to go good together. They're going to end up like a Cameron and Lauren, it's going to be it. And then it cuts to Barnett and Jessica had a date.
Yeah.
And that they were talking and, Jessica was like, dude, I need a guy that's into sports. And he was like, oh, dude, I hate sports. And she was like being all cutesy. He's like, no, that's not you. That, and I feel like Jessica was like catering more to Barnett.
Yeah, for sure. Well, she was, because she liked that age difference better than the 24-year-old, right?
Yeah.
She was more comfortable with that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the age, she probably felt, super comfortable. And I don't know, that connection was, I felt she put on her girly voice. Like it was like a super, her voice was like, like a girly, it wasn't like a Valley Girl voice. It was like a dumb Valley Girl. It was like, please come save me. Yes. Oh, like Knight's Tale. I'm the, princess in the prison. Come save. It's that kind of feeling that I got from her.
Yes.
And it was, and I was like, gosh, I was like, dude, like you're playing way too hard. Like it was something about it. And then, her playing up to Barnett, and I'm just thinking, well, you're like giving all this love to Mark, and her comments like, dude, I like this guy, blah blah blah. And then when she plays up to Barnett, it's like, uh-oh, this is gonna be an interesting season with her two-face comment to like her to Barnett and Mark. And so
that's so true. I'm glad you brought up the girly voice, because I definitely saw that too. And I was like, what did she just do? So I'm glad you noticed that. I thought I was the only one who noticed it. So thank you for saying it.
You're welcome. Because I was trying to shake my head. I was like, what am I hearing? I was like, is this girl 34 or 14? Like it was like a young teenage girl's voice. And I was just like, if I would have heard that, I would have been like, am I talking to my little sister right now? Or am I speaking to a woman? I guess she just wanted to like be cutesy. And I get that, I guess. I mean, I'm not a woman. Don't do that. But I kind of see behind it, the reasoning, I guess. But
I mean, yes. And I think it's also part of she's not sure with herself. And so she was trying to be something she's not. Yeah.
So I noticed the dynamic and the posturing between Mark and Barnett, how they spoke to Jessica. And so it's easy to contrast that to like, I was thinking, okay, so why does Jessica like Barnett so much? And she's kind of on the fence with Mark. And I feel like if Barnett was 24, but he still acted like, towards Jessica the same way, I think she would have still liked him.
Yeah.
And the posturing that Barnett brought to the table was he was more laid back. And there was I felt that Jessica gave him less resistance. And he was kind of like laid back and like whatever happens, whatever you say, or and if you don't like me, that's great. I can move on. That type of attitude, that type of mentality, which I think it's great, because Mark, on the other end, he was like, oh my gosh, if you don't like me, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like that, you can just feel that tense. I don't know. Did you feel the same way?
I agree. And I feel like, Jessica's the type of person that is probably like, likes guys who are more like aloof or emotionally, kind of out of it. Because she said multiple times, like, we haven't really had a deep emotional, conversation yet. It's like, okay, but you're still like all giddy over him for what? When you have this other guy who is like fully committed, wants to like, he could propose tomorrow, but you want to be reassured over and over again. Because I think she was the one. Or was it Barnett that brought it up? Like, what if I asked you to marry me tomorrow? What would you say? And she was like, oh my gosh, yes. But in the reality, I'm wondering, would you?
That sounds like a Mark move.
I think Barnett did it, though. I think
Barnett did it in the beginning. Okay.
Yeah. I know.
I know.
Truthfully, I think they both did it, to be quite honest.
She actually asked this, and I wrote this down. How he would be for a husband. That is what she asked Barnett. Is like how he would be, what he would be, his husband. How he can act like a good husband, I guess.
Yeah.
And so he gave some real answers, but mainly it was like very sarcastic. It was like joking around. It was kind of like, kind of you got the point, but he kind of gave it in like a funny sense of humor type thing, which is cool too, because they were both he both had them both laughing, Amber and Jessica, and so
I think Amber has that kind of personality too, right? They're just like, oh, we're just gonna slough it off and give each other a hard time and elbow each other in the ribs, kind of a sarcasm type of relationship. And no, when the hard stuff happens, it's going to be really difficult for them to communicate because they haven't done that yet.
Right. Yeah. Oh my gosh, my dog almost pulled my computer off the table. Holy shit! Sorry.
We don't want
walks
that.
around. He walks around through my cords. I've got 3 cords hooked up to my laptop and just walks right through it. Goddamn. Holy shit. Tito, get out of here. Go lay down. Anyways, so
Okay, so we
then,
have just a few more minutes, by the way.
oh yeah, thanks. I still have a whole page.
I know. Like we've only got to 3 couples. We have like multiple couples to go to.
All right. So yeah, let's lightning round. So, but Amber and Barnett and Jessica and Mark were kind of like the meat and potatoes. Okay, so then we talked about Cameron and Lauren.
Yeah.
And so I'm done with this page.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question. So we're going to go to lightning round. Diamond and Carlton. What are your impressions?
So Diamond and Carlton, I wrote that. I felt it was more real talk. To me, it was kind of boring. He said he's the son of a preacher. It was more deep conversations. However, Carlton, his sexual orientation is bisexual. And so I know that was like her face kind of like lit up a little bit, or Diamond's face was like, okay, so are you full straight now, or do you like women? Do you like both men and women? So that was that red flag, coming out of there. And so I thought they connected really well as far as like getting along, but it was kind of boring to me. What do you think?
I definitely think there was a boring. That's funny. It was almost like they weren't really building trust with each other. And even though they both said trust was something that they both valued, I don't think they were really trying to understand each other. It was almost like it was a forced spark. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like Diamond was too serious. I don't know why she would.
He was serious too.
Yeah, he was. So I think they go well together for not being no sense really humor, but yeah, I was.
They well together because they're not funny. That's great.
Well, no, I like to connect with the person that has a sense of humor.
Yes, I do too.
I don't want to talk to somebody that I'm like feeling like I'm reading the Encyclopedia Britannica or anything. It's like, it's crack a joke or something. But that was a big question mark on that one. I was like, I kind of just push that to the side, and it's like it'll work itself out. And then we can move on to let's see. We have Kelly. Kelly was 33. She's a health coach. She said she had 3 potential guys that she was looking at. They didn't really talk with her or like really highlight her dates.
Right.
Which towards the middle and the end of the season, she almost became one of the main characters as well. Mm-hmm. She's like this cute little brunette, great body, cute face.
She reminds me of a cheerleader.
What's that?
She reminds me of like a little muscular cheerleader.
Yeah.
Really cute.
So to me, I think she's very, very conservative, but the way she dressed wasn't very conservative to me.
Not at all. And I was wondering that too. Like, is this part of the ratings? Did they pick your clothes? Like, what did they do?
She was like in a short ass skirt and
very low cut every time.
Low cut, like front, top, and low cut bottom. I mean, makeup was okay, but like, I was just like, man, I mean, she sat like very conservative, but like she spoke very conservative, but like her dress, I was like, she's a little freak in the sheets, I think.
Well, maybe not if you watch the rest of the season.
Yeah. So, but they didn't really. She said she liked 3 guys out of the bunch, and then they all got together like between the second and third and fourth dates, right? Like the chicks came on one side and they were kind of like talking who they liked, and then the guys came on the other side. And then, of course, the guy and the guys question. I thought it was kind of like, well, on the guy's side, they're like, of course, about okay, who's a virgin, blah blah blah, and everyone. Only one guy said he was, and he's 31. And he spoke from the heart. It's like, dude, like I just don't want to sleep with anybody. Like he's like, I'm want to be with that special somebody to be with before he doesn't become a virgin. But
Well, I thought that was awesome and brave, very brave and courageous of him to say that.
Yeah.
And then they had obviously the guys were giving him a hard time about it. And then you never saw him again.
Yeah,
I mean, in the rest of the season, he's like, oh, that's it.
That sucks, man. Like he should be like kind of put up on a little pedestal. It's like this is the model guy that you need. Like I think every girl should be like, I want that guy. Like he hasn't been tainted yet, He
should be like the Bachelor, the new Bachelor, right?
Yeah. So right, and so I wrote some marriage. Let's see. Oh, and they're like on the women's side, they were talking about some stupid stuff. Well, to me, it was kind of dumb, but like the size matter, or is it motion of the ocean? They were drinking a lot. They were talking about their sex life topics. I'm just like, dude, like, are y'all 15 or 17? Like, these are kind of topics that like teenagers or like young 20-year-olds somethings talk about. Like, instead of like, oh, well, do you think that guy would be good for a husband, or what's his like background, what's his family life like? But it was all like, I don't know, very underage type stuff.
But again, that could be the editing. We don't know.
That's true. Yeah. Damn editors. They just want us to talk about that, exactly. That stuff. So, what else do I have? So yeah, so they all got together. They're all drinking, having a good time, which is pretty cool to kind of look at. And then I guess the next one. Well,
I got a question for you before you move on. So, if you were in that show, would you go back and be willing to say who your favorite one was, knowing that someone else could be also having the favorite one?
Ask that question again. I don't know if I understand that one.
So they all went back to their sides, right? The women were in their women and the men were on their men. And sure. They were talking about who's their pick so far.
Oh, yeah.
And would you be willing to say who your pick was, knowing that someone else could say that that's their pick too? Would you be willing to say it?
I'm a competitive guy. But I like to fly under the radar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I wanted to be the Mark that he just like shouted to high heavens. Oh my God, I found my first wife, and we're gonna have 3 kids. And Barnett was just like, I don't know if I should say anything, because he's young. I don't want to like upset him, but then like he doesn't know what he wants. He's like way too excited about it. Maybe I wouldn't say it in the beginning. No, I would keep it personal.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's like, and I don't know these dudes, like being outcasted because that one guy's a virgin. Like, I think that's what sucks about like society now is like they put the virgin down and you never saw him again. It's like they should, be happy about that. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm old fashioned, call me old fashioned, but
I agree with you. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I would think the same thing. I'm like, so he admits it, they put him down and then they kick him off the show. Really? That's it? He's done?
Yeah. So, but, I wouldn't say it in the beginning. No, I would be like a wallflower, or like, I'd be standing on the side, like, what's up guys? How's y'all's days? Blah, blah, blah. And I'll be more like surface discussion, like, oh, I met a couple girls. I wouldn't even say their names.
Yeah.
I would talk about, oh, this girl's this. I wouldn't really say details because I'm sure, if I was in Burnett's position, Mark would be like, oh, that girl, are you talking about Jessica? I'd be like, oh, connected. But then I would ask more of the questions like, how do you pick your girls, or so I would kind of flip it on them.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I found out that couple guys like my girl, then I would keep listening on. I'd be like their worst enemy, I guess, their frenemy.
Right.
So then I could kind of like put a twist on it. maybe I'm diabolical like that. I'm bad. So, but hey,
Gotcha.
that's you got to play the game, right?
I mean, that's kind of what
Got
it is.
you got to
Yeah.
win. So, yeah, I wouldn't say right off the bat. What about you? What would you do? What would you say?
Well, I definitely am not competitive in that area of life. I'm competitive in other areas, but if when it comes to dating, I'm like, whatever. It'll be a match regardless. I'm not going to compete with you. Is how I look at it. But I'm kind of like with you. I would sit back and just listen to what everybody would say, and kind of mentally take notes and be like, all right, he's talking to that one and me.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, where you're working from the end of competing with the guys. I'm working from the end of, so what did he tell me? Is he telling her the same thing? Yeah.
Good. I'm glad you're on the show with me because I wouldn't even thought about that. I'm such a dummy. God, well, that's what Barnett was thinking.
Uh-huh.
That's what
Exactly.
Barnett was thinking because he was
Right.
like, "What is Jessica telling me and Mark
Right.
and getting us all excited?"
Which she was
And
literally, I
yeah,
think, telling him the
she
same thing.
she was playing both sides.
Totally.
And then towards the end of the first episode, okay, so I put last date. They were more laid back, and he was worried about her saying the same thing to other guys, which was to Mark. And then he was catering to Barnett, and then she actually said, "What do I need to do to change your attitude or change your views? I'll pull the plug on Mark."
Yeah.
She
That
said that.
I know. Oh,
I was
I
like,
wanted.
dude, this B. I was like,
I
oh
know.
my
I said the
God.
same thing. I was like,
I was
why is she
I
on
was done
here?
with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was done. Dunzo. And I was like, my jaw was on the ground. And I was like, this is gonna be an interesting season.
So
Um,
she's the competitive one, right? So she's constantly, I think, competing with Amber or
yeah,
whoever that is dating. Yeah.
but she's a psychological
Yes.
everything.
I agree. I think there's something wrong with her. Yes.
I but she knows how to play the mind games. She knows. And but I applauded Barnett because he was like so laid back, so chill, so standoffish. Like he identified it like to a T, as
Yeah.
you just heard. I wouldn't have. I would be like, okay, well, I would still be like, yeah, what did he say, or what is his tactic, and I would try to like work with that. But yeah, no, that's a good perspective uh, to look at. So, but yeah, that's that. And then they're like in these pods. There's like 8 or 10 of them in a row,
Yeah.
and so and there's like a glass that divides them, and it's glossy, so you can't really see. You definitely can't see anything.
No, I was
But
expecting a silhouette of something, but nada, not a thing. Not even a silhouette. It's zero.
yeah, what did you think of the other girls, other women on the show?
Well,
Or
since I've again watched the whole season, I felt like there's so many that just didn't even get a chance. Like there was a couple that they named and I didn't write names down, but they talked about who they were and what they were looking for, and then they were gone. Never saw them after the first show.
yeah,
And I was like, gosh, why weren't they? What happened to them? You know? I thought it was, I don't know. There was just like Elsie too. I thought Elsie was completely overlooked by all the guys. Like she was such a genuine,
yeah,
kind person. And
yeah.
I know that her and Barnett, but they never showed her with any other date, And it's like,
Right.
man, whatever. What is it? Netflix? Netflix owes her.
Yeah. I think Elsie needs another chance. Now, I liked Elsie. She was like, I could see myself dating Elsie. She, where did I have it here? She was like a tomboy. Yeah, here we go. I felt like she was happy, free spirited. She was cute. She's from Tampa, Florida. She's like a tomboy. She was talking like she likes to do with her guy friends, and I thought it was pretty interesting. I heard like a girl's guy type thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So out
So
of all of them, who would you personally date?
oh, good question. Good question. Because all of them are crazy. No, I'm kidding. You know what? I like Lauren. I really like Lauren.
Yes. Yes.
I really like Lauren. I fell hard for her. Like she was super genuine. I mean, like even in my notes, like just from the heart, like
Yeah.
straight shooter from the heart, wholesome. Like she's all about family. She's all about her friends, and there was no fakeness to her.
Yeah.
You know, it was all real.
Yeah.
You know, beautiful. Yeah, so I really like Lauren. I could really connect with a girl like Lauren. You know, no BS, no nothing. So, what about you, guy or
Um.
girl?
Well. Funny. Lauren's my favorite girl. She's been my favorite girl
Okay.
from the very beginning. So if I had gotten to know the Virgin a little bit better, I would have totally gone dated the Virgin.
Mm.
Depending on his personality. However, I would pick Cameron. So how funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also now, I follow them on their social media channels, and I just
Okay.
love their personalities. So, and truthfully, Cameron to me was one. He was genuine. He was transparent. He was vulnerable, and he's intelligent. And those are
Yeah.
like huge, huge.
Yeah. I felt like Cameron took his time talking. You know, he was very concise, very just patient with everything. You know, with the process.
I think he's very
But
methodical.
yeah, methodical, very intentional with everything. So,
Yes. Yeah.
but also, well, cool. We're about on an hour, 2 minutes, and then we've covered all the dates. We've covered the ones that didn't last. Unfortunately, they didn't last. Maybe they'll come back season 2. Um, any other takeaways that you want to expound on the audience?
No, but if you're single, I will definitely recommend maybe being transparent and vulnerable on dates and just deep
Yeah.
dive into the conversations, just see where it goes. That's what I got took
Yeah.
away. Yeah.
I agree with that because like it's hard for us dudes to be vulnerable, you know. It's like for me, it's I open up enough to show somebody something, but then like I kind of like close up a little bit, but then I'll test the waters out,
Yeah.
because I don't want to like open up all this stuff and then the girl's like, whoa, like that's too much. I'm out, pulls the ripcord. It's like, check please. Like, no, I don't. No, that's not me. But
Clearly,
you know,
you and I have not dated yet because that normally happens on my first date.
oh my gosh, are you serious?
Yeah, that's what
Oh no. Like talk about their first or
everything. I know it. I know.
second.
People tell me they're secrets, so what can I say?
Yeah, that's not a first date topic. First date for me would be like like life goals, places I want to travel, places I see myself. I don't do like the 5 or 10 year thing, but like I'm just like, yeah, I want to go here, I want to go there. No, not now, but everything's shut down. But like, my career goals, what I've done in the past, why I've done things. Like I work healthcare. Like, I just love people. I love helping people, and I love the human body and sports and fitness and what I've done with it throughout my life. And so yeah, it's cool. And then I got my real estate license in March, so like I have all these aspirations to like continue on with other business stuff and not just stay in one sector. And
Right.
so it's cool, like that kind of talk. So like it can lead into like deeper conversations and all that. So
Yeah, like I said, people just tell me their secrets, but I'm right there with you. Let's I'll tell you where I travel, where I like to travel, where I want to go next. And yeah,
yeah,
it's all about goals and aspirations and what I'm working on. So yeah, I'm right there with
that's
you.
awesome.
Which is
Well,
so funny. Most people I don't think talk that deep. They just really just talk about the well, I shouldn't say that. Some people complain about their exes or their kids
Ooh.
or whatever. And it's like, oh, do you realize this is only date one?
Yeah, no. When they pull those cards out, that's when you cut bait.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
you don't
sure.
want to do any of that. Yeah.
Red flag, yes.
Red flags. So, all right, awesome. And yeah, this worked out great. And if you want, we could do episode 2 next week or 2. I don't care. Next week.
We'll see what happens.
And then we'll go from there. And it was really awesome talking with you, Miss Shay. It was great to share some of this guests, the crazy drama that's going on, and it only gets juicier after this.
Yes, it does.
It does get juicier. Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in with us, and check out Get Mad at It TV YouTube on my YouTube channel and Houston H-Town Haps podcast. And where can people find you, Shay?
They can find me at shaysparks.com, Shay Sparks at all my social media, and my podcast is The Power of Investing in People.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want to send me the link to that, I can hopefully find it. I'll put it in the show notes in the YouTube section. And then and then we can promote that on my YouTube, and then on the what did I name my YouTube channel? My Facebook, Full Think Creations. Yes. Hello.
Awesome.
I've got so many titles that I got to remember. Now I've got Full Think Creation. I could barely remember Houston H-Town Haps, and then Get Mad at a TV. I was saying it backwards. But anyways, don't log off. I'm just going to end the broadcast, and then we'll talk after this. But thank you so much, guys. Y'all take care. God bless.